Oh, good evening, everyone. So, this is my day 3 update of the Laura Frizzo trial lawsuit against David Thayer, city manager of Iron River, Michigan. And again, this is day 3. If you guys go back and follow day 1 and day 2, you can keep up with what's happening on day 3. Also, if you check out my Facebook page, Jason Asselin Video News and More, link is down below. If you go there, you will see a video update and afternoon updates. I've done 2 of them in the afternoon, talking about the case and talking about the proceedings. So if you want to go watch that, feel free, go ahead. Thank you, Lori. Love you too. Anyway, so day 3 started out with no TV cameras at all in the courtroom. No TV news media was there. Laura Frizzo retook the stand this morning. There was not a single TV camera in the room. There were 2 reporters, one from the Iron Mountain Daily News and one from the Iron River local paper that they have. Also this morning, Laura had a lot of family that were there, including 3 people from the Dickinson County Hospital, actually, that had some T-shirts made up. And then that too, if you go to my Facebook page, you can see those T-shirts that they had made up, and it says Team Frizzle across the back, and on the front, it's got the IDTV logo, Dead North on the center, and some other logos. But go to my Facebook page, you can check that out. Also in attendance this morning and throughout today was a officer from Iron Mountain who was there in support of Laura and to give her support. Also this morning, 1 juror was excused. Her husband, some sort of medical history or something happened. Maybe he had a heart attack. I'm not really sure. The judge dismissed that juror and let them go home or to the hospital. So we're down to 7 jurors now. I don't understand exactly how this works in a civil case, because it was at 8 jurors. Now we're at 7. So my understanding is 4 jurors would have to come up and make the deciding factor. Anyway, I'm going to try to go over this the best I can. Again, I did make a video earlier this afternoon, so you may want to watch that after you watch this, just to check out the 2. Anyway, it started out this morning talking about the fitness exams, and Laura was made to get a fitness reevaluation done to make sure she was good to be serving as a police officer, which she did. She had her doctor fill out one. They gave it to the city manager. And by the way, this is all what was testified today, not just what I'm coming up with. After the first exam was given to her, David refused to accept it. As a matter of fact, he ordered her to take a new fitness exam with a doctor of his choosing, which she did. And she took it and passed. The doctor said she was fine for duty. She was fit to do her job. And they asked David Thayer for a meeting. When can I go back to work? I got my 2nd exam. When can I go back to work? David Thayer refused to meet with her. Absolutely, downright refused to meet with her. And just a few weeks after that, she was fired. A little bit about that. I mean, so she, if his intention was to fire her the entire time, why did he extend this out for 2 months, making her get a fitness exam, making her take a 2nd fitness exam, and then just putting her on the back burner? The first day of trial, we learned that David was planning on firing her, and it was talking to local news media about it, and basically said that he was waiting for this news article to come out in the paper to kind of alleviate any situations or maybe to break the ice before he fired her. Like, really, he was going to wait for a newspaper article to come out in the paper before he fired his officer, his chief of police. I don't understand any of that, but that's what they did. It was planned. She had a retirement. She'd been paying a retirement ever since she was an officer, and she would have started collecting her retirement in 2020, except for this firing kind of screwed that all up. Now she would have to wait until 2025 to retrieve some of her retirement pay, or 2030 for the entire amount. She promised the mayor 15 years as a chief and that she would work until 2028. That was all coinciding with her retirement plan and all the plans that she had discussed with the mayor and some of the council. 2 months after she was fired is when the Kelly Cochran case started. Since she was fired, she still was a key witness in that conviction. She had to testify. She had to get ready for court. She had to study up all of the evidence before her, except she was fired. So it was really hard for her to get any access to that stuff. She pulled off a lot of the stuff she could before she got fired. And frankly, I don't understand why a city manager would fire a police chief in the middle of a major serial killer investigation and trial. Laura talked about working 30 hours a week before the trial started and 40 plus hours during the trial. And she's only paid $400 because she was not an employee, and she felt that she needed to be this key witness in the case, and she took it upon herself through courts or however that works. She was paid $400 for 3 weeks of work. The defense, the cross-examination really laid into her hard about how she refused to look for work afterwards. She just sat around and did nothing, when in fact she applied many places. She talked about applying at Holiday Kitchen in Iron Mountain. She talked about applying at Spiro's in Iron Mountain and Walmart, trying to get any sort of work. And even though they were hiring, they wouldn't hire her. After the trial of the serial killer, she tried many law enforcement jobs, and today they brought up a list, and there must have been 40. There were 40 different law enforcement agencies she applied for, and it was a no from every single one. And if you go back to yesterday, where I talk about how the city manager discussed and talked to other officers how he could ruin careers and just destroy somebody's life if he wanted to. Whether he did or not, I don't know, but I would have to imagine that these police agencies contacted him because she had to disclose that she was terminated. So they probably contacted him to ask why, what, how, when, where, and for whatever reason, she wasn't hired. About 9:40 a.m., Channel 3 showed up with a camera. Yeah. Let's see, between May and August 2017 is when Jeremy invited her. Jeremy is a police officer in Indiana who was the key investigator in that case, and him and Laura hooked up. They started dating, and currently they are engaged. Again, in May through August, Jeremy invited her down there just to give her peace of mind. She was running out of money. She was late on her house payment. She was late on the car payment. She didn't have a job. She was running out of cash, so she took that. While down in Indiana, she got a job at Olive Garden for 9 months, making $2.50 an hour, just to make any sort of income, anything at all. April 2018, she was employed and currently still is employed as a contractor with the high-intensity drug trafficking area. It's some sort of task force set up for drug trafficking. I don't understand what she does, but she's working pretty good there. 9:15, TV6 shows up with their TV camera. I don't know why they weren't there the whole day. They should have been there yesterday when Laura Frizzo first took the stand. Let's see, I talked about that already. Um, they asked her what it was like, or what. Laura was basically talking about how this whole ordeal was just a bad dream that you could never wake up from. She talked about being ashamed and thinking people were disappointed in her. And she broke down talking about how she missed out on her son's life. I think any mother would break down talking about their family or loved ones. She talked about she used to be proud, and she feels that David Thayer took that away from her and really just wrecked her emotionally. She had an episode, if you want to call it a emotional breakdown, whatever it was. It was just too much for her. Obviously, she was impacted financially. During this time that after she was fired, her daughter lost a house in Tennessee to a house fire. She couldn't even be with her because she couldn't afford to go. That was after morning recess. I'm just skipping across. I'm going to try to write a blog or something later on to going through all my notes after the case is over, kind of redo the whole thing. But the defense also talked a lot about at-will employment and how in her contract it is written, quote, shall serve at the pleasure of city manager, unquote. This is something that is in their policy that says the police chief shall serve at the pleasure of city manager. Doesn't that sound weird or just kind of kinky or strange? I mean, why would you word it that way? They kept talking about all the different rules that she was breaking, and rules about abusive talk towards bosses, rules about abusive talk towards employees, or even people in the office. She was expected to treat everybody with respect at all times, no matter how she was treated in the process. Apparently, she had no right to a free speech as we do. They spent a lot of time today talking about the former city manager before David Thayer. They seem to blame Laura for hiring a police officer, saying that she should have hired an experienced police. We're talking about Anthony Sylvia. Anthony Sylvia. He blames her for hiring him. I'm sorry, the defense does, because she should have hired an experienced officer that she didn't have to train. And another thing I may not have mentioned, I don't know if I did, when Laura first started with the police department, there were 7 or 8 officers there. When she left, there was only like 3 or 4. Anyway, their whole department went downhill, and I believe that's why the new city manager came in to help boost it up. This new city manager approved hiring an officer, which she did. Apparently, they didn't like him. I'm not exactly sure why they're jumping on her now for hiring this guy when the city manager could have said, no, don't hire him. She was just following directions. They keep saying that Laura refused to turn the case over, that this case should have never been hers, even though he went missing from Iron River, Michigan. They talked a lot today about the Dead North documentary. They showed the jurors part of the documentary, and they made it appear as if everything that Laura said during this documentary was fact. That everything that Laura said, she meant to say it and wanted it on TV. I'm fairly certain that that stuff is scripted, that there's scripts they have to follow, that Laura followed. Ultimately, Laura was paid $12,000, she admitted to today, from Dead North for this series, for the documentary. That's what she was paid for what she did for the documentary. They stated that Laura was paid, but Laura's fiance wasn't. They haven't gotten into this yet. I expect that they're going to soon, but again, they were really trying to push the issue about Dead North. Yeah, that's right. It is my basement. My wife and kids are upstairs. I don't want to disturb them. They're watching TV, and it's not fair to them for me to do this and tie them up. So yes, I am in the basement. They talked about they said that Dead North talked about David Thayer, and they insisted that again it was all Laura's doing. That none of this was Dead North's responsibility. None of this was the TV show's responsibility. That every single thing in that show and what she said directly came from Laura against David. Again, this series came out. Obviously, during all this was leading up to a trial, but it didn't have nothing to do with David. I did the series. They did talk about David Thayer, and she did talk about her job in given the decision either investigate this case or don't be a police chief. That was really what it was about. They did not want her investigating this case. They did not want to spend any money. Oh, so Laura is engaged to her future husband. Apparently, Laura was wearing a very large ring on her finger, her engagement ring. However, in court, she's not wearing it, and the defense made a point to bring this up. They literally wanted to talk about her engagement ring and how many carats it might be. Talking about why would you try to sue this, or why do you want back pay, or why do you want this money if your new fiance is going to buy you this huge ring with all these stones on there? And literally they objected to this, and the audience were like gasping, like, seriously, why would you bring up a woman's ring that her fiance gave her during the trial to talk about? It has nothing to do with David Thayer's harassment towards her. Nothing. Bitch. Yep. bitch, bitch. The big word. The defense doesn't actually deny it. As a matter of fact, I don't even realize if the defense realized what they did. But Laura says that he said, "You bitch," and then hung up the phone. Two other witnesses say they heard him say, "That bitch." Not "you bitch," but "that bitch." However, apparently one of the people that heard him say it, "that bitch," when the defense attorney was talking to Laura on the stand, the defense attorney said, "Is it true?" Or basically asking her to confirm, but more or less she asked Laura to confirm that he said bitch and then hung up the phone, which he said, yeah, that's what happened. Because David's trying to say that he hung up the phone and then said that bitch. Although Laura says he didn't hang up the phone in time and she heard what he said. Yeah, I mean, that's again, they said that, others admit him hearing saying that. Some say that bitch. Again, it was, I guess it'll go back and forth. We'll hear testimony from the other two, I'm sure. However, it was confirmed bitch was used. It was used. He said it. Whether he meant her to hear or not, that's totally besides the point. The defense suggests that David wasn't being sexist with that statement, but rather he was just upset. People swear all the time. So, the defense was showing on every time they brought up a piece of evidence that they wanted to admit in the court, and I don't know if anybody even noticed this. I did. The defense kept using their computer, and you know when you hold your cursor over the stuff on the bottom, how it'll pop up on the screen. Well, that was happening, and the guy was scrolling across all of the different stuff on the bottom of the screen. And when he did, it would pop up on the screen, and people were like looking at it. You could see it, you could read it. And at one point, they actually kind of objected and said, "Can you take that stuff down? We don't need the jury to see this." And so, I mean, it's one of those things like, you know, I could pop up a picture of something and leave it on the screen for 2 seconds, but pop it off. But that's enough time for your mind to see that and to try to figure out what you just saw. Not cool. I don't think that part was cool, but I guess you're going to try to sneak in anything you can, aren't you? Defense wanted to show emails and texts showing that Laura swore and talked behind David's back. I guess if I'm having a really hard problem with my boss, don't I have a right to talk to friends or reflect or show what I feel? Today we watched a 3-minute clip in silence. It's the same clip we watched yesterday. It was an older couple that came in wanting a death certificate, and Laura explained, I cannot give you a death certificate. The man started swearing and raising his voice. Laura told him to get out of the office. This is all on camera. She pointed at the camera, made him get out. And ultimately, that was the last day she worked, because the next day she was called into David's office. And again, if you watched stuff yesterday, we talk about that, where David threatened her, put her finger in her face, and then threatened to hold her down. Actually put his hands out to her to push her down into her chair, and she backed up. And then David got into her face, like really close in her face, and she said, "What are you going to do, David?" And then she backed up, walked out of the office, and that was her last day employed. So Laura's doctor is a personal friend of hers, and apparently doesn't take cash. He won't accept payment for services. He is her doctor and is being her doctor for free. He's a really good friend. The defense was trying to make it appear that the doctor was lying for Laura, that Laura and the doctor conspired together to lie in this court case. That's what they're trying to bring forth now. She's trying to say that Dr. Yarber is a good friend, that he doesn't charge. Dr. Yarber instructed and wrote down a note to Laura that she only needs 40 hours. She only needs to be working 40 hours. She had been working 80 to 100 hours a week. He said that that you should only have to be working 40 hours a week, and that was his doctor's release. He was releasing her back to work, saying that she was now fit for duty and she could continue, but he recommended that she only work 40 hours or she could have another issue at hand. David Thayer sent Dr. Yarber an email asking what her issue was. Tell me. You need to tell me what the issue is. What is her sickness? And all of you know, HIPAA will not allow that. And the doctor refused. Told him, no, I can't tell you. It's not up to me to tell you what her medical conditions are. So during this medical leave, Laura discovered a cyst on her breast. So she went to her doctor. And this was, again, during the medical leave of all the other issues going on, but she discovered a cyst. And turned out she had to have a biopsy done. The defense is straight out saying that this was a lie. They're saying, again, that this is that she just came up with this and that the doctor lied. What kind of doctors lie before a court hearing? Or, I mean, even an ex-police, people lie, but why would you lie and make up stuff about that? I'm going to stay away from that other stuff because, again, that's a lot of personal information about Laura that really shouldn't even have been out there. I think it's very courageous of her to actually bring it up and talk about it. They talked a lot about texts, and the defense is saying that Laura deleted texts and then lied about them. So she's saying that she just deleted a whole bunch of texts and then lied about deleting them, which it's her word against hers. You know, it's prove it. There was a bunch of different messages sent from Laura to other people, and in it, she didn't describe everything that happened in the office where he pointed at her and talked about shoving her down and stuff like that. Apparently, she didn't mention this in some of her other messages to other people, so the defense suggests that, again, this is a lie, This is something she made up to get back at David. Attacked, the defense basically attacked and blamed Laura today for her attorney's actions. Asking about evidence that was supposed to be turned over to her that Laura didn't turn over, and all of these other documents that Laura was supposed to turn over, but she never did. Even Laura told me afterwards, it wasn't my responsibility. That was my lawyer. My lawyer was sending everything over that he was supposed to when he did. If he didn't send something, how am I supposed to know, she said. But I find ironic that they just totally blamed her for the dead north. They blame her for hiring Anthony, which the city manager was over. They blame her for taking on this case and not stopping it, not stopping a murder investigation, and just let it go. It's just a murder. Nobody cares about it. Why should I investigate it? Just let it sit there. Just screw it. You know what I mean? Screw with family. Yeah, that's what they should have done, right? No. And they really nailed Laura hard again about job searching. That's kind of where the day ended. Yeah, Laura Frizzo was on stand the entire day today. The entire day. I expect, and I know, she'll be back on the stand in the morning. I believe we'll be hearing testimony from Dr. Yarber tomorrow. And I'm sure many other people. This court case is expected to go on into next week. And I will be attending every single day. We started in the morning at 9 a.m. Today we ran until 20 after 5. And yeah, it's going to be a long, long day. I appreciate all you guys. You know what? I'm going to try to read over all your comments and stuff in a minute, because when I post this video, none of those comments will stay. I don't like that. I wish YouTube would fix something so everybody's live stream comments would actually stay when I post the video, but they don't. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's catch up on some of this stuff here. Live chat, we'll take that one. All right. Lori, hi. David says, hey. John King, hello. Sunshine's M, hi. I love him more, somebody says, cute. Don't tell my wife that. She probably wouldn't appreciate that. Dead North, John says. Bo is a... Don't worry about Bo. Bo is a troll. I'm not going to ban Bo because, as I talked about before, trolls actually bring me a lot of viewers. They boost my ratings up, so... Exactly, Laura, right? Laura says, if you want to be mean, then why are you here? Jason is awesome. Thank you, Schumann Construction. I think Laura is awesome, but so is Jason. Thank you, Lori. That's where Moto says in basement. Laura Lee Chameau, a.k.a. Dream Dragon 1313. Laura was my favorite officer. I'm not surprised. She seems like she's a really awesome person. Iron County is all about small town injustices. Not shocked by the injustice in Iron County. It's like the good old boys club. If you're part of the good old boys club, then you'll be in it. But if you're a woman in the good old boys club, not happening. That's fact. How is it legal to have no females on the Iron County Police Force? Right? If you watched the video yesterday, I talked about when David Thayer first started with Iron River, there were 5 female employees. There's only 1 left. 2 resigned within a month after David taking office. 1 was fired, not Laura, another one. And then Laura was fired. And the only female left is an elected position. Elected. So David can't fire her. The city clerk is an elected position, and the city clerk is actually an assistant to the city manager. So that's the only reason why that 1 female is still working there. She can't be fired. Oh, let's see here. Anything else? I'll get in the area. Lori, definitely, if you get in the area, let's have lunch. Anybody else? hit me up. I'm always available, always up for something. That's it. Anyway, this is going to conclude my live stream video tonight, my update of the Laura Frizzo trial. Again, make sure you give me that thumbs up either here or on Facebook. Make sure you guys check out my Facebook page. I've been posting pictures around courthouse, and again, today we had 3 girls from Dixie County Hospital come in wearing their t-shirts, and I got a cool picture with them and Laura. And I try to share a little bit every day on Facebook, and then I do this live stream at nighttime. So make sure you hit me up on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, well, I guess watch me here. Other links below. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I do have an Instagram account. If you just type in my name, you should find me. And yeah, make a comment below after this video is posted, and tell me what you think. What is your feelings about this case, about Laura? We'll just post it. I will try to respond. I always try to respond to every single comment left, even the trolls. Trolls have feelings too. You gotta talk to them nicely, you know, because. But anyway, guys, again, I do appreciate it, and make sure you're a subscriber so you know when I go live. Make sure you hit that little notification bell up there too, so you'll know when I go live. And this is for my trolls and anybody else. If you'd like to help me out with gas, with food, with any of my transportation issues, I'm more than willing to accept something from you via PayPal. That link is below. It's up to you. I'm going to put it right in my gas tank, or I'm going to buy myself lunch, or it's going to go to a good cause. Yeah, it's 35 miles each way, 70 miles round trip every single day. So, yeah, that's it. You guys have an awesome, awesome night wherever you guys are. And I look forward to responding to your comments and seeing what you think. Again, guys, make sure you give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, make a comment below, and as always, have a beautiful night, guys.